Okay, so that's what it was. Just trying to connect those other channels and being like, no.
Yeah, I think it was just Restream being like, you don't pay for it. Nice try, sucker.
Yeah.
Ultimate powers. Okay. All right, so we are live. We're just going to wait a little while for some folks to catch up.
Give everyone the chance. Okay, what's... Okay, let me go get the link. Tweet it out.
Oh, I have the link if you want it.
Yeah, send it to me and I'll tweet it.
It's in the little private thing there.
Got it.
Someone was already asking too. All right, so we have that done. Just hang out a little bit and wait for some folks. Get a message from everybody. Where's the show?
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Something went wrong, but don't fret. Give it another shot. I'm trying to tweet this out and it won't let me. Twitter.
I like to call it shitter.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're on Periscope.
And now my Twitter is nothing.
Twitter is blank.
Yeah, it's like everything is something went wrong.
Maybe you caught my Restream virus.
Yeah. What the hell? Because I was just on Twitter scrolling the feed. Everything's fine. Now I try. Let me... I can't even sign out.
Yeah, hello, Wisconsin. Yes.
Yes.
Stephen Watson's here. John S. is here. Esper Ranger, excuse me, not John S. They are patiently waiting as we are waiting on people to show up and Matt to tweet things out. And
Twitter hates me. Logging out. Log out. Log out. Log out. And it's just like I'm clicking log out, which pops me back to a log out screen. It's just like something went wrong. I have no idea what's going on with my Twitter. As soon as I tried to tweet the show, we're being suppressed.
Yes, suppressed.
We are being suppressed. I'll hold on 1 second. I will be right back. All Now, something definitely happened to my Twitter as soon as I tried to tweet that, because now it's like I am completely, even on mobile, cannot retrieve tweets at this time. Either that or Twitter just went down. Weird.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But we should probably start the show unless you're...
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so the chat thing works. Okay. You ready to go? I'm going to go.
I'm ready.
3, 2. Welcome to the Classic FASERIP Podcast. I am DM Vince, and I am sitting alongside DM Matt.
Hello, everyone.
And we are back after some snafus. The last time we weren't able to do a show, it was my fault. I had some emergencies come up, so I had to cancel last minute, and that's life. So, but we're here.
And Twitter is down. I just checked. I had to.
It's down?
Yeah. I went to, is it down? And there's a bunch of people reporting issues with Twitter. Yeah. Upstream connect error or disconnect reset before headers. So our tech errors we had earlier this evening, I'm blaming on Twitter and whatever's causing it.
It's Matt. It's all Matt's fault.
Yeah. And it's contagious because it actually infected Vince's tech this time, not mine.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're back with a brand new show this week. We got some good things to talk about this week, some news to talk about, some good things coming from the UCP, and we have a couple questions. So hopefully Twitter is down for Esper Ranger too. So, all right. So it's not just you, Matt. Apparently it's down for him as well.
Oh.
So Twitter's down. Oh,
boo-hoo. Oh, no.
Cares.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're back. Email address, bullpen@classicfaserip.com, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I got it right this time. Yeah.
Yes, you did.
And we'll be running through a question that Jane had left on my channel. We thought it was an interesting question that we can just kind of run down and go over. If you have any questions, please send it in right to us, and we will go over that in possibly a future show. And we'll talk about that. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to dive into the Ultimate Powers. Did I say it again? Yeah, Ultimate Powers. That's right. I didn't say Powers Unlimited.
Right. Yes, Ultimate Powers, not Powers Unlimited.
I don't know why I keep saying that.
Well, there would have been a time we may have talked about that on an unreleased project we had discussed doing at one point, but...
Shh, that's a secret. We don't talk about those things.
Yes, we don't talk about sweet domain names that we registered but never actually used.
Now everybody's going to go looking now for these domains. Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Anyway, so Ultimate Powers, we're going to talk about Origins of Power, as you probably saw the title about this, and we're going to kind of run down these powers that are in the book and kind of give our thoughts on that, and you guys can chime in too here in chat as well. And those at home that are listening for the replay on the audio or watching this video, you can comment along with it and leave your comments, and I usually reply to them all the time. So I shouldn't say usually, I always do. Regardless if somebody says something nasty, I'll still reply. I'm not going to say it's not nasty back, but
right.
Anyway, so if you want to flip to around page 10 or 11, you guys can see that hopefully pretty well. Yeah, looks like it. We do get our Origins of Power. You can roll them. Let me grab the book so I can see it a little bit better here. You can roll them or you can pick them as normal. Most GMs that I played with personally always made us roll. There was no picking in my game. Yeah. So
I usually let my players either decide whether they want to pick or roll, and they usually go with roll.
Yeah. I think rolling is a little bit more chaotic and fun just to see what you get.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on the type of game you want to run. The way I see with this game, since you can randomly generate just about every aspect of your character, I see that as much a writing prompt as anything else. Just taking this jumbled stats and making something of it. So there's some fun to be had in just that type of concept.
I remember when I went for my first year of North Texas RPG Con, I did an impromptu FASERIP game with a bunch of people. And the way it rolled out was one of the players rolled, he had a weapon. It was a gun. And the material of the gun was stronger than the actual gun that he was able to shoot. So he would just constantly throw the gun because it did more damage than actually shooting the gun itself. So
he would have been perfect in the Naked Gun game.
Oh yeah, definitely. But looking at these, just giving your overall opinion of them, why did they do this, do you think? I mean, this is kind of, I would think, backstory. I mean, you should be able.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, this is the ultimate book of we're just going to brain dump every possible concept we could ever think of that ever appeared in a comic book and dump it in this book. Every origin, every power. And this is as much of a brain dump. So that's why there's so many different options and so many different small niches that get filled in these origins. So, I mean, that's why it's there. It just builds, you take what was in the basic or advanced books, and this is just that on steroids, like everything else in this book, to the point where, I mean, it's like, even if you get into some of the powers, it was like, there's just subtle differences between some of them. It's like, was that necessary? And that's kind of what this is. A lot of subtle differences all spelled out.
Like Nato, he was a hero who was born with the body type he has and possesses all his powers from birth onward, learning to control them the time he took. I mean, maturity, gain the powers sometime after reaching adulthood. These are things that you should be able to, I would think, make up on your own. You really don't need a book to tell you. I mean, I guess some people do. I don't know.
Yeah, some people might like it. I could even see if you just wanted as a judge to actually make some NPCs, maybe some villains or something, and just wanted to roll and see what came up. You could do that. But for the players, yeah, all of that, I would let them flesh out themselves because I think it'll be far more creative. But maybe if a player's struggling with a concept, they could use this to spark some imagination, maybe.
I think right here, Stephen Watson says it the best here. If a player has an origin in mind, no need to roll. If nothing definite, then roll them bones.
Yep, that's it. This is more of a tool there if you need it, not a requirement.
So how would you, let's just say we're playing a game and you're running the game, and I'm like, you know what? I need to roll here, Matt. I have no idea. And I roll, and then let's just say I get, one of these things here. How are you going to incorporate that into the game for me?
Well, I usually try to take care of all of that when I do my session 0 for superheroes. I'm over the let's role play out how you guys all met.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I don't do that anymore. So at that point, I'm like, okay, let's role play this out, or just talking about amongst everyone at the table. How does this fit with everyone else? The only risk you run with this game is if one person rolls really hot and everyone else is like street level. So you have Thor and you have a bunch of mooks. At that point, it becomes kind of difficult to run a game when you have that kind of power discrepancy. And you can get that with your origins as well. How well will this origin mesh with everything else? I think in most instances, you can work around that just from the backstory. But yeah, it's a very much, I see the character origins as a collaborative effort between all the players and how to incorporate when it comes to incorporating those into the game. It's not just me determining it. It's them as well, as we figure out how they know each other, why they're a team during that first session 0.
I am definitely over that as well, as far as meeting in the tavern, so to speak. I just like to tell the group that you guys know each other, somehow figure it out, or I will give them a story for them to figure it out, because I don't want to spend time like, a half hour or so in a game session just to figure out, or someone just who's not in the right mood just decide to be a dick and be like, yeah, I don't talk to him. I don't like the way he looks.
Yep.
Which we all know there's always one guy that does that. So
right. I tried doing that with a Star Wars game one time. That went really horrible. To the point where there's PvP violence the very first game.
Wow, first session, first game. Wow.
Yeah, there was some gunfire to the point where we ended up like, yeah, At this point, how this went, we had one of the players make a completely different character and we restarted and my camera froze.
Yes, it did, but it's fine. We can still hear you. There you go.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. Something must be sucking my bandwidth. Twitter.
It's definitely Twitter doing it. You called it right there.
So, but yeah, working all that out, not in game, just in session 0, how you're incorporating these backstories, I think is the way to go. And then you as the judge can figure out what's important and what's not.
Like endowment, the hero was given his power by another being. This includes such as diverse situations as being transformed, being charged with power, and acquiring an item whose position that reads Green Lantern all over it. But I know this is not DC, so
right.
Lightning strikes, energy exposure. Yeah, chemical exposure, tampered out, things like that.
Chemical exposure, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, the mutation happened in the sewer. That's correct.
Yeah. Hey, Morlocks. They could have easily been turtles.
I've used Morlocks. Has anybody actually statted up Morlocks for FASERIP, I wonder?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I think, aren't they in one of the Gamer's Handbooks, the Morlocks?
I don't know. Stephen Watson, you seem to know all these things at a blink of an eye, so I'm sure you'll answer us about that one in just a second.
I'd have to go and grab my binder to figure it out. Yeah, someone hands you a mask and tool. Endowment, you're Robin. Yeah. Here's your leotard. You're a boy wonder.
No, it doesn't work that way. That's definitely not an endowment.
Yeah. Well, no. I'll just bite my tongue there.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I really don't have much more to say about this. I wanted to quickly go over because it was some things that people had asked me and talked about inside, when talking about the Ultimate Powers book. So,
yeah. Yep. There is a Morlock subtable for in the X-Men books.
It's in the X-Men books? Oh.
Yeah.
Which book? I'd like to look that up.
I'm guessing it would be the actual box set, the Children of the Atom.
Oh, got it. Okay. So moving on to other things here, I just wanted some Marvel Comics news itself. So do you think the move that Marvel replacing Diamond with Penguin Random House is going to be the final nail in the coffin for Diamond? I mean, DC dumped them.
Yeah,
Marvel's dumping them.
Yeah, they're just trying to get better deals. I mean, it's like with Diamond, they also own Alliance, which handles your games. So it's like Diamond Alliance are basically in the same Fort Wayne, Indiana. That's where it all comes from. And Marvel's tried this before. Anyone remember? I think it was Heroes World or World Hero or something like that from the late 90s when they dumped it and it went terrible and they ended up going back to Diamond. But this time around, I wonder how much of this was sparked when Diamond was shut down for all those months due to COVID. And they're just like, hey, we need to get a different supply chain that won't be interrupted like that. And Penguin Random House is a bigger one. So they probably get better rates with the larger company. It sucks for game stores, though, in the comic book stores, because right now, if you need 3 different accounts, if you want to order your books, because Diamond still has your indie studio, your non-Marvel, your non-DC, then you have to have an account with the DC. Now if you want to get your free shipping, you have to go through Penguin Random House.
Yeah.
So it's just a nightmare. And also, a lot of these stores use like Comic Hub or different things that you can order your books from into their system, and they can in turn order it. And what I've noticed is, and I don't know if it's directly related to this, the UPCs or on these books change to the point where if you had an auto pull subscription, it gets canceled and you're not getting your books automatically because it's a new product, not a continuation of the old product you were getting.
Oh, well, okay. So if they do lose Marvel, that will definitely be a final nail in the coffin for Diamond, pretty much, as they're speculating here. As it's saying, most of the independent publishers are going to be owed money and they're going to be losing out.
Yeah. Yeah, because they start hitting issues with, because they buy the books and then in turn sell them in it. But there is that lag from order to payment. And I remember reading more about exactly the timing of it. It's kind of like the issues that TSR had back in the day, where they were billed by their suppliers for their books every like 60 days, but they got paid every 90 days from their distributor. So the more books they sold, the deeper in debt they went because of that lag. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Diamond does. And there's also the chance that the stores will be like, the headache of dealing with Penguin isn't worth it. And it's still better to go with Diamond, or Diamond will do what they can to give them better rates, the stores that stick with them. So it may not be as big a savings as you would get from Penguin, but the convenience of you order everything from one place as opposed to having multiple shipments come in could be worth it.
I just hate to see independent publishers lose out because of what's going on between Marvel, DC, and Diamond itself. So
yeah, I mean, I think they're the independents are also the ones that'll suffer the most during COVID and all of that, because when books weren't shipping, books were shut down, books were delayed. Diamond was late on payments. That whole March, April, June, July of last year was just a bad time for comics, the industry in a whole, because of everything being shut down. At least Marvel and DC could still ship out digital books, but the smaller publishers, no.
I know my comic book store actually stayed open. I still went to their store even during the COVID thing, but we had to stay outside, obviously. And he was doing curbside service for everybody.
Yeah. Mine was doing that until the governor even shut that down here. He did do mail order. So I remember I did do that once where I had some books I had already ordered that he got in, but he wasn't allowed to have anyone even come to the store for curbside pickup. So he set up a way you could PayPal him the money online and he'd ship it to you. So I did that.
Looks like Twitter is back up for all those people who are very concerned right now about that.
Yes. Twitter is back. Now, if only it would give me my bandwidth on my camera back, so I'm not like max headroom still frame.
Yeah, you're like satellite.
Yeah. On location.
Yeah. So my guy, what he would do is curbside service. He would also you can call him on his personal cell. He did I guess he had an iPhone, so FaceTime. And he would like, you see anything you like in the back comic bins? He would like go through it, with you or like that.
Okay.
So he was very accommodating. He's a very small store, not that big, but he's moved his location 3 times, getting smaller and smaller each time. And I thought this time was going to kill him when it happened, but he's back. I mean, I just went in this past week and there were like 4 or 5 people in there. Everybody still had their dumb masks on because I can't stand wearing that thing because claustrophobic, so it bothers me. I wear it, but it just bothers the hell out of me.
Yeah, it's like mine. They actually use Comic Hub as their ordering app, so I can go on Comic Hub, just search for any book or anything, say I want to get this, I want to like pre-order this statue, whatever. Basically, anything you can get through Diamond that'd be in previews, I can just select in this app, order it, and it'll just automatically show up in my pull list. So that's how my store manages everything. And when COVID was going down, they had to move too, but that was because the building they were in was like a strip mall that was actually owned by the Catholic school next door. The land was, and they wanted to basically get rid of that strip mall and build a soccer field. So they basically were kicking everyone out of that. So they had to move from what was actually like this. It was a old interior design store. So it had like marble floors, pillars, just very elaborate and ornate inside. It was like the total hipster comic book store because it was so elaborate and exquisite on the inside. So they had to move that to like a regular strip mall store. But
now that everything was back, I was able to complete my little collectible things like that. Like I got my Gotham badge.
Oh, nice.
From the Gotham TV series. And I got the one from Arrow too. From Starling.
Oh, sweet.
And then the one from Flash, which is over here too, but I know this is not DC. I collect these little things because I like them. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a neat little trinket sticky, little tchotchkes.
Tchotchkes.
Hey, I have lots of tchotchkes.
Yeah, you do. I've seen some of the various things that you collect. You collect a lot of stuff.
Yep.
We had another one here in Marvel comic news. This is an actual deal with actual comic storyline. I'm not in depth with the comic storylines, but Mephisto has regained his throne as Marvel's King of Hell. Apparently, the Ghost Rider was the one sitting on the throne, and now my boy Mephisto is now back into it. I had no idea Ghost Rider was actually sitting on the throne in Hell. So
same here. I was like, what? Because, I mean, that's just the whole genre of Marvel I've never really been into. It was like the most I read about Mephisto is when they did the silly stuff with Spider-Man and Mary. And in order to have Aunt May be alive, Mephisto did magic and retcon. So Peter Parker and Mary Jane were never together. And when you like, but what about all the continuity issues this creates in every other book? The response was magic. So, yeah, that's like my extent of Mephisto knowledge. And I think he was also in one of the Marvel fighting games as a character.
Was he? I have no idea.
I think he was. Marvel superheroes or something from that era.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's like, I'm sure it'll affect like the Ghost Rider and the mystical magic things that I don't read. So
it's a good picture. It's good to be home. Him on the front. Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze was sent to hell with a Thunderbolt. Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes went to space with the Avengers. Oh, they had two Ghost Riders at the same time.
That's happened before. Yeah.
I actually liked Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. I mean, I know it's not the traditional Ghost Rider, but
yeah,
I liked him. I liked him when they brought him into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the TV show. I thought he was actually really cool.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I mean, at least with the Ghost Rider, that mantle being passed around, and it makes sense. So, yeah, I have no problem with that.
All right. So a couple things I had been given news-wise. Mephisto tried to open a hellmouth in Nevada. Johnny claimed his throne. Oh, that's how it happened? Okay.
Oh.
That was in the... I just saw what that was. During the Doctor Strange Damnation arc. I don't really read Doctor Strange at all.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Doctor Strange? Because that's one of the comics that I've never read. I kind of put it up there with like DC's Dr. Fate. I can't read those comics. They're too wordy for me. Like, I don't know.
When they did the reboot of everything circa like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
I was getting Doctor Strange just for a little bit, but it was one of those I read a few books and I'm like, I kept getting them because I forgot to unsubscribe to it. So I have a bunch of Doctor Strange books unread, but I'm just like, maybe one day.
Yes. Just sitting on your shelf going, not today.
No, I literally have a nightstand drawer next to my bed full. It's like my drawer of shame. It's all my comic books that I need to read. I just stick in there so that way I can read one or two before I go to bed.
And you never do.
No, typically no, especially not now just with how busy I've been. So, but yeah, like I've got pretty much the entire current run of Daredevil sitting in that drawer.
I was never a fan of Daredevil. I could not stand Daredevil when back in the 80s and 90s. My friend was always like, Daredevil. I'm like, Dare dickhead. No, I don't really care about him. I just didn't like Daredevil.
Yeah.
Uncanny Project has Gods of the North by Andrew Goldstein that is out now. You can head over to their group to grab that book. Coming out soon is The Grandmaster's Guide to NPC by Keith, our former co-host of the show, who should be back someday. I've also been told the New Universe series Spitfire book by Simon is coming out soon. And they have a couple Marvel file issues coming out that is going to coincide with the new Marvel TV shows and series coming out, like the martial arts with Shang-Chi, Black Widow themed ones, and a Hawkeye issue with Hawkeye Spider-Tech with the Spider-Man #3. So those should be coming out real soon. You can head over to their project on Facebook. You just search them out, and it's not that hard to find them. And just apply for the group. And they should let you in, and you probably get them. I mean, I think they're still putting them up at classicmarvelforever.com. I don't know. Maybe Stephen Watson can confirm that. I'm not sure if Cutter is still putting them up there or not anymore, but he was. So we did have a question that came from Jane on the notes, and she wanted to know, can you share your thoughts about creating an Iron Man Tony Stark campaign? In other words, making a theme that deals with engineering devices, earning resources, combating shady companies such as Roxxon, Stand-in International, Justin Hammer, and Cord Conglomerate. While my first impression of a campaign like that is that's going to be a lot of, I don't know, book work for a lawyer type RPG, to be honest.
It strikes me very much as a spy game.
Yeah.
It's going to be heavily spy because you don't want to draw attention to what you're actually doing, like any of those corporations listed. They do things, but they all do them try to do it under the table, hidden, try to maintain public face. So that would be part of it. And it would be, this company's doing this thing. You need to thwart it, but at the same time, you can't expose how you're thwarting it or that they're even doing it. You just need to make sure it doesn't happen. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of, as for the earning resources, that would be, you'd just have to rework the resource mechanics so you have a way that you actually earn and have it be more of a fixed number than the general stat that it would be. To actually make it like you got to save up. It would be, well, off the top of my head, I guess the way I could see it is if you wanted to say you had remarkable resources and you wanted to get something that's amazing. If you wanted to say, treat yourself as having maybe good resources for X amount of time, that's you saving those like 2 steps, something like that. So you take a negative to your resources for X amount of time in order to basically get an even roll on something that you normally wouldn't be able to get. Maybe. And I think that's a way to do the saving and resources without exerting a lot of bookkeeping and math that just doesn't fit with this style of game.
You're right. Now that you said it sounds like a spy game, I'm thinking more like a whole top secret based, pulling those rules into it. And maybe it's going to put a lot of work on the GM because now the GM has to figure out what all these companies are working on. And you are working for your own company, let's say, and you have to, I would probably base it off on a spy game, definitely. You have to infiltrate these companies, find out what they're working for, and try to top them for what they're working for and do something better than what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So not only does the GM have to figure it out, he has to figure out adventures for you to sneak in there, what they're working on, how much information you're getting when you go in there. So
yeah. And then you could also, you also get into you're working on something really cool and they're trying to sabotage it. So you need to thwart them getting it basically the inverse of what you pitched. So you could have that going both ways. Do you stay back and guard your stuff to stop them from stealing it? Or do you go out and try to steal their stuff and managing the resources? And so there's something there, but it very much ends up in a spy type game. And if you're expecting people in power armor duking it out, that could be like the climax of it. But at that point, it kind of exposes everyone and creates its own issues.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like when I first saw this question the last time before the show, I was sitting here trying to think, how would we do that? Because there is like no way to make that an actual game that's going to be. It can be fun. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to be fun for the entire group to do. Maybe one or two players.
Now, if you weren't, say, the head of the company, but you were like the plumbers for the company, the fixers.
Yeah.
You have, so if you're like a step below that, and depending on how successful you are, is how the resource benefit that they get, your company gets. You could do something like that. So, but at that point, you are basically just like a Mission Impossible spy team. So there's something there, but I don't know if it would be like you're working for Tony Stark. Like Stephen Watson mentioned in chat, Stark has a lot of characters on his payroll. Many go off and do their own thing or fired or become enemies. So that's like the coworker, someone that used to work for him, does their own thing and is fighting you. But you could also be one of those people working under him. You're not the guy. You're not Stark himself, but you're one of the guys that needs to go get these parts or make this deal to get these components for the next power armor.
And then how about the people that are, would you incorporate them breaking into the base that you're working at or the company you're working at? Would you involve the players with that as well?
I could see both. It could be that it starts with the break-in. If the players don't thwart it, now they got to go get it back.
There was an industrial saboteur called the Ghost.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So then that was his whole thing. He would break in, he would steal the stuff and get out and sell it on the black market. So
that I could see an entire campaign of you playing something like that. But the other end is the one that kind of threw me off, the Iron Man Tony Stark type campaign. You're playing Tony Starkish type character with your own company while trying to undermine other companies and build your stuff in your company without them knowing. That part,
that part, if
makes my head go, what?
At that point, it becomes Wall Street, the game. If you go down that road too far, too heavy on the business and not on the sneaky and smashy. So, but yeah, there's something to do with the high-tech companies in conflict with in subterfuge and conflict with each other. So there is something you can work with that.
I don't know. Well, we'll leave it up to the audience to try to give us some more ideas. They can write in bullpen at classicfaserip.com.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember the email address. I keep forgetting it. Or you can leave a comment here on the YouTube channel.com/theevildm, or you can head to our website, classicfaserip.com, and leave a comment on the post there for your feedback for Jane. Help her out with her question of the day. Now we'll open up the chat for any questions they'd like to ask about the game or anything else. And other than that, we're going to head out then. If nobody has any questions, that's in chat.
Yep. And Stephen Watson has some more ideas like field testing missions. You got the new tech. You need to go out and see if it works. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, again, there's things that can be done, and just making it into, like, you could be out field testing your newest invention in the middle of the desert. Other company knows about it, ambushes you, tries to steal it. Maybe they do.
To answer your question, how much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now, the answer to that is if a woodchuck could chuck wood, he would chuck wood as far as he could. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to be a smart ass with this question. There you go. But I guess that's going to be all for tonight. It's a little bit of a shorter show. We just wanted to give a show, not have a show.
Yeah.
No, not have a show. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll be back in about 2 weeks with another show. Trying to keep these, anywhere from around 30 to about an hour length of show, enough that people can do it on a drive or a walk or working out. Yeah. The 30th of April will be the next show. Sound good to you?
Yeah, sounds great to me.
All right. With that said, we're going to say keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody.
Good night.